So it's time to discuss transfers today, and oh boy, we do have a lot to talk about. Just like we predicted, there will be a lot of activity, or a lot has happened in the past, 24 to 48 hours. And yeah, Premier League sides have been very busy, and we can still expect a lot to happen between now and the 12 a.m. deadline, on the 1st of September. But regardless, there are lots of ratings to do. And Victor, let's get straight into it so we don't take too much time, pun intended. But yeah, rate Alejandro Garnacho to Chelsea for £40 million plus the 10% sell-on clause for Manchester United on a 7-year deal.
3 out of 10. I've said it before. I don't think anyone wins from this move. Maybe Man United a bit now because the initial news making the rounds were saying 30 mil. So 40 plus a 10% sell-on is a bit better for the Mancunians. I don't think Garnacho will get the same playing time he hopes for at Chelsea. And Chelsea don't need this player. It's more of a flex than anything else.
Yeah, fair enough. And moving on to North London, let's talk about the player Spurs decided to move on to after missing out on Eze. Raid Xavi Simons to Tottenham for £51.8 million on a 5-year deal.
8 out of 10. He's been showing for a while that he's a terrific player, and it was obvious Spurs needed some creative spark with Son gone and Madison injured, Kulusevski injured. This was definitely needed. And if we look at the market, it looks like a fair transfer fee and good value as well.
And it's
Yeah,
also
fair
funny
enough.
you remember that Arsenal stole the player from Tottenham, and now Tottenham stole the player from Chelsea.
So the person.
It's like a revenge.
Bit
Yeah,
of a
fair enough.
merry-go-round, yeah.
Right, and still with Chelsea and still with you, Victor. In a bit of transfer news that has caused some controversy, Chelsea decided to recall Nicholas Jackson's loan move after an injury to Liam Delap. In fact, Jackson was already in Germany. He was already taking pictures. He was about to do his medical, and then Chelsea decided to recall, that loan move. And now it seems like it might not happen. Although just before this call, David Ornstein just posted that Chelsea are considering signing another striker, but they will only let Jackson go if the move is permanent and not on a loan deal once again. But anyways, what do you make of this whole thing from Chelsea?
Oh my God. Yeah, well, apparently yesterday at some point Jackson was apparently refusing to fly back to London, so there's that. You can kind of understand why Chelsea are doing this. It's a delicate situation for them. Delap might be out for 1 to 2 months. They've sold Nkunku to AC Milan, so they certainly need a striker, or at least they feel like they need a striker now. But it's a very tough spot for the player. If you ask me, I think he's better off heading back to London because it's not like with Bayern he would be getting much play time. Does anyone really think he's taking Harry Kane's place? Because if that's the case, I've definitely got a bridge to sell you.
Fair enough, but I just feel like it's so unfair on the player. He has been frozen out all this while, and finally you get a move, and then they just call you back. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's what it is, anyways. And moving on over to you, Max, and now for another rating, rate Nick Woltemade to Newcastle for £69 million, inclusive of add-ons on a 5-year deal. 6'6" player.
I mean, it's obviously a huge overpay. I mean, at least it's a double over his price. I'd say for 30 or 35 mil, yeah, it's a nice signing. But when you sign this player that scored 12 goals at best in Bundesliga, I mean, you overpaid a lot. So I'd say 5 out of 10, just because he's probably has some potential, because he's still young and he's probably can improve. But currently, it's a pretty bad signing.
Yeah, fair enough. And still about another striker, rate Tolu Arokodare to Wolves for £23 million on a 5-year deal.
Yeah, I'd say this one is probably 7.5, because he went for pretty low amount of money for the Prem, especially. Obviously, he's not going to be a starter, but as a backup option for the striker position, it's a huge upgrade for Wolves. So I'd say 7.5.
Well, there's a
If
chance he might
Strand
end up being
Larsen,
a starter.
if Strand Larsen's leaving, he
Yeah,
might have
Yeah,
to
if he is,
start.
yeah, then yeah.
fair enough. And still with you, Max. Aston Villa are advancing in talks to sign Lucas Paqueta from West Ham for a £47 million package, inclusive of a loan fee and obligation to buy etc. So, what are your thoughts on the price for Paqueta, and does he actually improve Aston Villa's options?
I mean, he's obviously probably the best player West Ham currently have, but I'm not sure that at this age he's probably priced this high. But yeah, I mean, he can improve Aston Villa because we all saw that he can do on the pitch. But I'd say I'm not sure that Aston Villa even planning to pay this much for Paqueta. So I'd say for the 35 or 40, yeah, he could improve the squad. But almost 50, I'm not sure that Aston Villa is doing that.
Mm, fair enough. And back to you, Victor. Rate JD Canvot to Crystal Palace for £23.3 million on a 5-year deal.
4 out of 10, and I feel like I'm being a bit generous. This is a player with 22 senior games who's supposed to replace Mark Gray. I mean, Glasner must be fuming, and I don't blame him. But at least they kept the fee reasonable. This is a young player with some potential. However, when it comes to a comparison with fellow center backs in the top 5 leagues for defensive stats, he looks really well below average. All metrics put him in the 38th percentile and below, except for tackles where he's in the 71st. So okay-ish. Um, Again, small sample size, but still, if I were Glasner, I'd be raging at this.
Fair point. And moving on to Gui, and still with you, Victor. Liverpool have now, as at the time of recording this video, Liverpool have placed a £35 million bid plus a 10% sell-on clause for Palace to sign Maguire, from the club. Do you think Palace will finally accept this offer?
I think they should. I mean, of course, it's easy for me to say that as a Liverpool fan, but if you look at the context, I feel like neither Liverpool nor Guehi have much of a problem waiting for a free transfer next summer. So, from Palace's perspective, might as well get some money out of it. It's a huge loss to them, obviously, but at this point, I think they just need to take it on the chin and move on.
Yeah, fair enough. Exactly. £35 million is better than zero anyway, so just take it. But yeah, and moving on and over to you, Max. It's time for yet another rating. Rate Nicolo Savona to Nottingham Forest for £11.25 million on a 5-year deal.
I mean, when you sign somebody for this low amount of money in Prem, it's always above F5, I'd say. But for this certain player, I'd say, I mean, at least we should give him a time, and probably he can improve in Prem. But he's not gonna be a starter, obviously. So I'd say 6 out of 10, I guess.
Hmm. Well, interesting. And still on to ratings. Rate Jeremy Pino to Crystal Palace for £26 million on a 5-year deal.
He's probably supposed to replace Ezra, right? But I don't really see him playing on the same level. And yeah, I mean, he has a lot of potential. I've seen some his games in La Liga, and he was the shiny guy. So I'd say, yeah, and he's still quite young. So I'll go with probably 7.5 because the price is pretty low for him. So I'll go with that.
Yeah, fair enough. And still with you, Max. Chelsea have actually sent an official proposal worth £34.6 million to sign Fermin Lopez from Barcelona. But the question is, do they even need this player?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I was going to ask, do they really need another striker? Yeah, I mean, he's a good striker. Obviously, He was coming on the pitch for Barcelona like in the second half and scoring some goals, but you already have like three strikers or four strikers at Chelsea, and I don't really see him being a starter. So if you call Jackson back, then do you really need him? Or if you want to sign him, why do you call Jackson back? It doesn't make sense for me.
That's Chelsea for you, mate.
Fair.
And rounding up with you, Victor, with two final ratings. Rate Facundo Buonanotte to Chelsea on a season-long loan.
You're really painting me out as the bad guy because if you asked me about Pino, I would have given a 9 out of 10. But here I keep giving low ratings on a regular basis. 4 out of 10 for this one. It just I don't get it. It doesn't strike me as a priority area for Chelsea, the attacking midfielder position, especially if they're serious about Fermin Lopez, who could actually play very well as attacking midfielder. I know that the owners of Chelsea, they're American, so maybe someone needs to pull them aside and explain, guys, you can only field 11 players in soccer.
Fair enough. And just on a final note, rate Piero Nkapi to Arsenal on loan with an option to buy for £45 million plus a 10% sell-on clause.
Okay, yeah, here I can finally give a high rating, 8.5 from me. I feel like it's a really smart one, provided that it comes with an option to buy, not an obligation. This is a proven player. He can play at center back. He can play at left back. So quality addition, whether it's for depth at center back or to start out left. These are some headaches that Arteta actually had, like some proper stop gaps that he needed to plug. Honestly, I'd rate this one even 9 or 9.5, but I have some small doubts about the system change. He's been playing in a 3 at the back for ages, and now he needs to adapt to a back 4, so I do expect some shaky moments.
Yeah, fair enough. Anyways, that's all we have in our transfer video today, and we are more than certain that before the deadline day, we are still going to see even more deals, and regardless, we are going to give all the updates here, either in our next video or in some of our other platforms as well. But that's all we have for now. The transfer news are eating up fast. Clubs are trying to round up their business, and we're just going to have to wait and see how everything will play out.